Texting 7871069er back to the mid-sack on a Wednesday. That is the redoubtable one, Tom Izzo. I am the highly questionable one, Arjun. That's your segment 2, the madness of March, Sweet 16.
The ice box.
We are going to finish the brackets here in the frigid. There could be shrinkage tonight, boys and girls. There could be shrinkage.
Been shrinkage.
Woo! Anyway, it is
shrunken.
It is not spring, but tomorrow and Friday's supposed to be 60s and 70s. So
I didn't see 70s anywhere.
Friday, 72. Anyway, maybe it changed. I saw it earlier today. Maybe it changed. Who the hell knows?
I looked at.
Let's not do that now.
I looked the other day.
Let's not do that now.
Not do what?
The weather. You're going to the weather.
Take me 2 seconds. Yeah, there's no sign of 70s.
Okay, well, it was yesterday, but whatever.
I got 63 as the high both days.
Well, that's still better than
30% chance of rain on Friday. Go fuck yourself.
Oh, that's terrible.
We'll be in a garage.
Terrible. We'll be in a garage. Well, they'll be in a garage. They'll be at work.
Yeah, which is also
anyway.
for you.
Anyway.
I mean, come on. Figure out the days better.
Anyway.
Adjust the schedule. Make a little effort to be home for March Madness, damn it.
Yeah, I'll be watching it at work. Just not partaking in everything I want to partake in.
I mean, this happens the same weekend every year.
I know it does. It's terrible.
You should be able to set something up where you have that Friday off.
No, because they never fucking I did that one time to do something. They never fixed my schedule. They fucked it all up forever.
Really?
Yeah, they did. They fucked it all up
They
forever.
permanently changed it.
They just fucked. They're fucking. I don't want to get into it.
How
Anyway.
is it?
I don't get it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about my work. We're here to talk about the Sweet 16. So, starting in the Midwest. Now, we're down to 4 here. We've got Houston against Miami. Is that who you had also? Yeah?
Oh.
He's going to light us a third cigar.
When I come back with a bang.
I come back with a bang. Baby.
I don't, I'm not slow out of the gates.
No, not
okay.
at all.
If I'm coming back,
He's coming back. Yep, all in.
speed ahead.
All in. So,
Okay, I'm
Houston,
sorry.
Miami. Is that who you had? Houston,
I had
Indy?
Houston, Indy.
All right. So, this is a tough one.
That
This
is.
is when they
So you
get
have
tough.
Houston, Miami.
All right, now I do, yeah. Okay. So I think Miami pulls the upset here because I don't have Houston get to the Final Four anyway. I have, but
I have Indiana beating Houston.
well, we both have the upset. So I have Miami. You have Indiana. It's not because Calvin Sampson can't coach. I think both teams played in a better conference. Whether with Miami or Indiana, they both played in a better conference than Houston played in. So, other than Memphis, that's it. It's a big drop off after that. So, in any event, we both got the upset there. Then you got
Houston only played.
I had Xavier. Who'd you have? Iowa State.
Hold on a second. Houston only had two games against top 25 opponents. Wow. Talk about not being battle tested.
They're going home. Miami is. And so's Indiana. So whoever's coming out, I think either one of them would beat them. Anyway, that gets us to Xavier, who is legit, against Texas, who is legit. Both are
I have
battle.
Iowa State, Texas.
Okay, fine. Well, I don't know how tested Iowa State is, but I know that Xavier is. But still, I have Texas moving on there. Who do you got there?
I have Texas.
Yeah, okay.
After watching Texas beat Kansas handily, I have some
Texas
recency
is one
bias.
of the, Texas is a tough. Texas has a shot to win the whole thing. They're one of those teams. The next region, the West, we've got Kansas, UConn. Or would you have UConn losing? Did you have Kansas, UConn on that one?
I got Kansas VCU.
Okay, well. Yep, so he has UConn losing. Okay, so I have the Jayhawks getting here. UConn is the team a lot of people are picking to knock him off. I think Kansas's experience, and as good as Danny Hurley is, he's not Bill Self. I think they run into a better coach and a team with as much talent. Now UConn has a big man who's almost as dominant as Edney is, and they've got a backcourt. Yeah, he's big. He's not as big, but he's close to 7 feet. So anyway, and he's dominant, and their guards are dominant too. But Kansas all around, I think, is the better team. It's going to be a Donnie. That's going to be a one-score game probably. But I have Kansas prevailing.
Kansas has been in the top 5.
Kansas has the one thing about UConn has not, but they're good. UConn's good. Sure. This is going to be a great game. But I have Kansas edging them out there and getting to the regional.
I have Kansas putting a hurting on VCU there.
ASU. I have ASU. Bobby against UCLA. I guess ASU is my dark horse, but this is where UCLA is UCLA. They did lose the best defensive player, arguably, in the conference. They were saying that's what he was. Anyway, but offensively speaking, they're amazing. And that kid, Jaime Higgins, whatever his name is, that dude's nasty.
But losing the player of the year?
Was he the player of the
I
year?
mean, defensive player of the year in that conference.
I think
that could hurt. That could come back to bite him.
They beat ASU without him. So, yeah.
I have UCLA beating TCU in that spot.
Okay.
I had TCU get.
So we both have them. Okay.
We both have UCLA
Okay.
moving
So
on.
then we got Bama, UVA, or in the up in the
So this is
south.
the 8, right?
This is the
Elite
Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. So Bama, it's the Sweet 16 right now. We're starting this. So Bama, I have Bama UVA in that game. Who'd you have? Bama. You had Bama. Who'd you have them against? Yeah, UVA.
I had Bama via.
Yeah. So I don't think UVA beats them, but I think they beat them up, and it's a preview of things to come. Okay, so I've got Bama winning that one. It's going to be close, but UVA's shooting or lack of will be their undoing.
Yeah, I got old Bama.
Bama. The other one, Wildcats and Baylor. I have Baylor. You had what's their names, right? You had NC State.
I had NC State, but I switched it.
Okay, so we both have Baylor against the Cats. Baylor is battle tested.
So is NC State.
I mean, so's the I know, but so's you mean Arizona, the Wildcats. That's who they're facing. Arizona, Baylor against.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm still thinking about me changing my pick. Sorry.
To me,
I have Arizona in
this is
that
a
game.
coin flip game because of Baylor's strength of schedule. Because while the Pac-10 up top is good, it's not as good depth-wise as where Baylor's coming from. But the Cats, I think, will get it done somehow. It's going to be another Donnybrook. I got Arizona barely escaping that one, but winning.
Yeah.
So,
I got Arizona. Arizona going to see Ala.
yeah. So then brings us to the East. Duke, Purdue, the rematch. Purdue handled them by about 19 the first time they played them. That was back in December. I can tell you right now, Duke is an entirely different team.
I hope you're right.
They are an entirely different
I
team.
hope you're right because I'm picking Duke.
Filipowski did not look like the guy that he looks like now. He wasn't even hitting threes yet. He's now hitting like 30-something% of them in the second. So he wasn't doing that really. He was a freshman. He was timid. Playing now, this is not going to happen twice.
I really hope we get that matchup.
I think Duke circled this game, or in the tournament when they saw the seed. I think they're like, we can see that. They're not going to talk about it. It's a weekend away. It's 2 weeks. That's got to get through this weekend. But I think they're looking at that one, and if they're hoping they see him. So I've got Duke winning that one. And then I have Providence against Marquette. Who do you have?
I have Kansas State against Marquette.
Okay.
And I think we both think Shaka's coming.
Shaka wins that one, yeah, Marquette. Okay, which brings us to the regional final. In the Midwest, I had Miami. He had Indiana knocking off Houston, which brings Miami to Texas. Texas, to me, I would not be shocked if they won the whole damn thing. So Miami would shock me because as good as they are, I think at best their ceiling is Elite Eight. That's where they are. This is the best I think they could do because Texas is there. So I've got Texas winning that game.
I have Texas
Winning.
Okay. Beating Indy, though.
Okay, that's fine.
So I have Texas beating Indy.
Yep. I have
Again,
Texas
with Texas, the recency bias, seeing them beat down Kansas, it's hard to not like them because you just saw that
there,
game.
and that's Kansas.
Yeah.
So which brings us to Kansas UCLA. If UCLA, I think this is where this kid being out kills him. Yeah, this is where you picking UCLA. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm taking Kansas. I think this is where the losing.
That's where you think it comes in.
That is where it bites him in the ass right here. And then we've got Bama against Virginia. We're in this is the South Regional Final for the Final Four. Bama, Virginia. This is where Virginia rather, not Virginia.
It's
Arizona.
Yeah. I was getting confused. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, shit,
it's
I'm
the same.
lost
Yeah,
again.
I'm sorry, it's my fault. Arizona the Cats. Bama the Cats. This is going to be a hell of a game. This is going to be a hell of a game. I've got Bama prevailing here because at the end of the day, Bama has the best player on the floor and they're comparable talents. When you have comparable talents, it's like, all right, well, who's got the better player at the end of the day? Mm-hmm. It's Bama. And I think their defense is a little bit better than Arizona's. So I've got Bama winning that one. It's going to be a great game, but I've got Bama winning that one.
See, I don't know a lot about Arizona other than the game we saw them play.
If they were,
who did we see them beat in the championship? Or did they lose?
I thought they beat UCLA.
They beat UCLA, right?
Yeah, I thought they did.
By a bucket or something?
Yeah. Hell of a game. It was a hell of a game.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
So that makes me think, like, man, I think the twos in this tournament have a real chance to do some shit.
Well, I've got Texas in there already.
I know. Texas, I've got UCLA.
Yeah, I've got Kansas versus Texas in one Final Four, and I've got Bama versus Duke. That's my one.
Yeah, I mean, I have Bama beating Arizona in that game too.
Yep. So the Final Four, I have Texas, Kansas. He's got Texas, UCLA.
Yep.
I've got Bama, Duke. He's got Bama.
I got Bama, Duke.
Duke also. All right, so we agree on that. So 2 1s, a 2, and a 5.
So we have 3 of 4 teams the same.
Yeah. 2 1s. In my case, 2 1s, a 2, and a 5. He's got 2 2s, a 1, and a 5. And again, that doesn't surprise me. I said this tournament is 20 deep. There's a 5 seed in here. That is not a fluke. Because the 5 seed shouldn't have been a 5 seed anyway, which tells you how deep this field was, okay? Because Duke was as hot as anybody in America at the end of the season. 9 in a row, and every win seemed to be better than the previous one, okay? They took care of Miami. They took care of UVA. These teams are both legit. They beat Carolina twice. They beat, they knocked Clemson. I'll tell you, they were beating people convincingly. And then when they saw Pitt, who won, by the way, their first NCAA tournament, they beat Pitt by almost 30 in the tournament. They fucking whacked them. So I was one of the worst beatings I've seen in a long time.
They're 9 in a row?
9 in a row, yeah. And they're convincing 9. They were convincing 9. So
it's always good to go into the tournament like that.
Yes, that's how you want to go. That's called peaking at the right time.
Okay, so
we've got Utah. Well, I've got Tech. We both got Texas.
So you like Duke over Bama?
I do.
I like Bama over Duke.
I like Duke over Bama. I think this is where the best player in the country runs into a kid who's not that far behind.
Filipowski?
Yeah, he's
really
not
that
behind.
Close.
That kid, you go watch him the last month.
He
was the ACC.
I'm still going Bama.
He was the ACC tournament player of the tournament. He won the MVP of the tournament. So he's playing that well. And again, he doesn't have to outplay that kid. He just has to play well enough. Okay.
So I got Texas beating UCLA.
All right. I've got Texas beating Kansas.
You do have Texas in there.
Yep, I do. Which brings you have Texas. Oh, you have Texas versus Alabama. I have Texas versus Duke.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got Duke winning the whole thing. The reason I did this, not because I don't think I think
your team.
I haven't picked them in a long time.
Interesting.
Long time I haven't picked them. It's been a long time, probably 6 years since I probably picked them to win the whole thing. So I'm doing this because one, I think people are underestimating this coach. The talent's top level. They're not going to. Nobody is going to out talent Duke in this thing. They're not. Even Alabama doesn't have. Duke, top to bottom, has more talent than Alabama does. Okay? So, and when I look at who Alabama lost to, whether it was Gonzaga or it was UConn, there were teams, they can be beaten. And Duke has more talent than both of those teams.
Didn't we watch A&M beat Alabama?
Earlier, the week before,
like
2
2
weeks ago,
right?
yeah. And then
Didn't we watch that?
and they bitch slapped him yeah.
And I think that was right when all the Brandon Miller shit was coming out.
Yeah, and this is the other thing going on. Brandon Miller has to have armed security because he's receiving death threats. You think that's not going to be a distraction, boys and girls? And the more they win, the bigger that's going to become. The bigger a story. No, it's not. It's a story now. Wait what happens when they get to the Final Eight, and they're talking about it before in the pregame.
Yeah,
they will be.
If that's preoccupying him in any way, which
that's not gonna
if you're
help.
A normal person, how could it not?
He has to have armed security. I'd say it's getting to him.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. But again,
the whole situation is terrible.
It's terrible. The whole thing is terrible. So I've got Duke winning it. You've got Alabama beating Texas. We both have Texas losing.
Okay, so this is where when I picked it last night, I felt like, when's the last time a number 1 overall won it? Do you remember?
It was recent, a couple of years ago.
Was it that recent? Who was it? Like Kansas?
Kansas, I don't think was the number 1 last year. But Baylor, 2 years ago, Baylor was number 1, and all the way through. It was Baylor. They did.
So I picked Bama, but the fact that Texas just stomped Kansas makes me want to pick them.
Okay. You wouldn't be. I don't think you're crazy. When I say to you, there are 20 teams that could have won this thing. Any of the 20, if you pick and win the whole thing, I would not.
In that matchup, who do you think wins? Bama was.
If Bama was to play Texas,
yeah,
it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think they're very evenly matched. It's a tough one. I think it would depend on where it was being played. Well, let's say it's a neutral site.
No, it's in Houston.
Yeah, it's not a neutral site. Texas is
right, but it's in Texas.
It's a home game.
I know.
We might want to rethink this
there's
whole
legit
thing.
home game.
There's legit home court advantage. Well, Houston too.
Houston could get
If they
there.
get there. What if Houston?
I mean, that's much more of a home game than
the problem
Texas.
is
'cause-
Houston and Texas can't because one of them they would face each other in the Midwest Regional Final.
That's right.
So which would be in Kansas City. So one of them ain't going to get there. So we both picked.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
Well, we both picked Texas.
we both
together.
picked Texas together. And we both
God,
thought.
so I'm starting to rethink. All right, let's look at some of the numbers here.
Good.
So versus the top 25, Alabama 7-4,
Mm-hmm.
Texas 9-6.
Basically,
Played
it's
more
a, it's a
games.
wash.
More games,
yeah.
though.
Yeah, but I'm saying they both were 3 better than a
BPI rank. That's the whole
Oh yeah.
fucking
Yep.
algorithm or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Alabama 3rd, Texas 5th. Very close.
Very close.
Very close.
Man, it's close. It's close.
Opponents' points per game. Opponents' points per game. Alabama 68.5. Texas 67.4. Close.
I'm saying it's a tough call. It's a very, very tough call. But it's in Texas. So I'm picking Duke for one reason, because of the coach. The coach has been there.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking Texas's coach. He's good. But Duke's guy has been there as a player and as a coach. He knows how to navigate this tournament. When you can't really think of too many guys. You think about Shire's resume. I know he's young.
Changing it.
Yep. To what?
I'm sorry. Continue about Shire.
I'm saying people don't realize how experienced he really is for his age. Going back to when he played. You can't beat a starter in the national championship game and you win it as a player. That's number one. Then he comes back and does it as an assistant coach. So he knows this from every angle. And there's just not many coaches in this tournament right now that you can say that about. And I'm pretty sure the coach from Houston is not on that list. So my thing is,
Switch.
he's and going 15-0 in the ACC. I can't. You can't.
At home,
You
right?
can't. Yeah, you can't sleep on that. I mean, a team that gets 5. Look at a conference that gets 5 teams in a conference. If you go undefeated in that conference with 5 tournament teams or more, that's no fucking joke. And that's with Carolina being down. Okay, and it should be 6 because Clemson got robbed. Okay, so in any event, that's why I'm picking Duke. I get why anybody picks any of these other 19. And I'm talking Xavier. Okay, I'm talking Miami. I'm talking Baylor. I'm talking Purdue. I'm talking Marquette. There's fucking 20 teams that could win this fucking thing. Indiana, for Christ's sake, could get hot and win it.
Indiana.
Okay, so I'm just saying there was
Well,
that.
I'm going
compar-
Texas.
All right, cool. Texas. I got Duke. He's got Texas.
And I'll say this. Something that makes me feel better about this pick is that the other day I just randomly asked my son, John, I said, who do you think's going to win it all? And he was like, I don't know, Texas?
John said that.
John said that. Okay? Now, he knows, he doesn't watch any of these games. He just said it.
There is validity.
And-
I got news for you, boys and girls. There's some validity to what you just said, and I can prove it. I can actually prove
Because
it.
sometimes the less you know about it,
and there's
the more accurate you can be.
The great thing about kids is they have belief. Their dreams haven't been crushed yet. They haven't had all these things go wrong in their life. So right now, the limit's the sky, right? It's just like
No,
so,
but John knows nothing
That's
about
my
it.
point.
It's not, he doesn't want Texas to win. I think it was the first word that popped into his head.
What are the odds of that?
Well, so he had walked down when we were watching the championship game the other day.
Yeah.
He came down the stairs and looked at the TV and saw Texas playing. Must have seen that they were up big.
He was scouting.
He must have seen the score. Who won? Oh, Texas. So then when I said
Goes upstairs, writes it down.
right, no. So then later on, I go, who do you think's going to win?
I bet John's
The only team in his head at that point.
I'll bet John's done
Texas.
8 brackets. But to his
Guarantee if
point-
I asked him tomorrow, he wouldn't say
but
Texas.
as outrageous as that sounds, here's why it's possible. Because in 2015, when the Patriots were down 28-3, I go into my brother-in-law's kitchen to get a drink. I am disgusted. I am going to eat. All my Atlanta friends are already blowing my phone up, and my son, who has not watched one play of this game, is sitting in the kitchen at the time. He's playing with his Matchbox. He's not even looking at me. So I go to get a drink. I didn't notice. He looks up at me. He goes, "What's wrong, Dad?" And then I compose myself because I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm probably swearing in front of him." And I'm like,
Bullshit, he composed himself.
I did. I said, "That doesn't look like it's there yet, pal. Looks like they They just ran into a better team. He's like, the Pats are losing? I'm like, yeah. He's like, by how much? I'm like, by a lot. I didn't give him a number, a lot. And
Can I do the real version of what happened?
No, you can't, because there's no real version. There's no I was swearing, breaking stuff.
You know-
That wasn't happening. I was in my brother-in-law's house. That's not going to happen. Now, if it was in my house, that might be true.
This guy,
I didn't.
I don't care whose house he's in, a coldness runs over
Yeah,
him.
but I don't start breaking and throwing
When he
shit.
thinks the Pats are down, just a coldness runs over this man's soul.
I'm trying
And
to validate.
the scowl in his eye, on his face.
It's like the blackest
it could
eyes.
cut through a goddamn barbed wire fence. I tell
The
you,
devil's eyes.
he's just like.
I spent
And every
8 minutes
answer-
trying to console him. I spent 32 trying to lock him up because I knew there was nothing left behind those eyes but pure evil. That's Halloween, Michael Myers.
Okay.
That's you basically saying what when the Patriots lose.
And every remark
Yeah.
you make is a snarky one.
Yeah.
Every answer you give is like,
But-
what the fuck do you want?
But my kid is 2.
Oh, he was 2 at the time.
He was 2.
Okay.
So
All right, I take it back.
I'm like,
I
and
don't
in my
think
brother-in-law's house, and we're just like, they're just at that point you can't get mad, they're getting dropped because they just keep turning the ball over, stupid stuff is going,
Oh, you
crazy
can get
shit's
mad.
going on.
You can get
So I go in there and I just go, I'm like, it doesn't matter, it's their year, pal. Just they ran into a better team, trying to be, And he goes, well, how bad are they losing? I didn't even know. I said, by a lot. It's over. It's over. And my son looks at me, 2 years old. Dad, we have Tom Brady. That was it. And goes back to playing with his matchbox as if I wasn't even there. And I'm like, I'm looking at him, and it was all I could do to I kept saying, he's 2, he's 2, he's 2, he's 2, he's 2. And I'm like, so then I'm like, oh, well, hey, you know what? We do have Tom Brady. What the hell? And I'm like, they're about to score again. I'm thinking the Falcons. So I go back in there. The Patriots start driving. And the next thing you knew, they scored on that drive, and this miracle comeback was on. So as
was all
outrageous as
started
that,
by Anthony.
and didn't watch 1 second of that game. Doesn't know anybody beyond the name Brady on the team at the time. He's
So
only two.
are you going to write a movie called Baby for Brady? And it's going to be about
I'd write Anthony.
the comeback?
I'd write A-Train for TB12.
No, but it's got to be like 80 for Brady. So
Anthony-
it's Baby for Brady.
No, it's Anthony for TB12.
Okay, that doesn't have the same ring. I'm sorry.
Baby for Brady.
Instead
I
of
wouldn't go see that.
Instead of 80 for Brady.
I wouldn't even go see that.
No one. You did go see.
No, I
it.
wouldn't go see Baby for Brady.
You went to see 80 for Brady.
That's better than Baby.
It's just as corny.
I knew all of the actresses. They're icons, all of them.
Oh, we could get an ensemble for Baby for Brady.
No, we're not doing Baby.
We could get. Okay, forget it.
We'll give it a time.
Forget it.
Baby for Brady, we'll get him.
Forget it. I'm not gonna pitch it. I was gonna go to Hollywood and pitch it, but fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm writing my own miracle story right now.
You are.
With John summoning the word Texas.
Texas wins this
if
thing.
If it wins,
John is freaking Nostradamus.
I'm buying John. If it wins,
But you know what you're doing.
I'm gonna use
taking
the,
him to
I'm gonna
Sonic.
use the money.
You're taking him to Sonic.
No, I'm gonna use the money to buy him the virtual reality.
There you go. That'd be nice. That'd be a nice gesture. In any event, so that's our brackets. We wrote them down. Look, you can see. Here's mine. Zoom in. It's right there. All there. And Tom's going to zoom his in, so it's right there on the
You're gonna zoom
camera.
mine in?
Zoom yours in there, so you
I
know who
won't
we
even be able
got.
to read it on this camera.
Well, it's going as close
It's
as you
not-
can.
It's
Go
very
close.
small.
Right there. It is. That's all right. We can still.
Texas over
Yeah,
Alabama.
I got Duke over Texas in Texas.
Sorry, Nick Saban, but
Yeah.
you coach football, not
That's
basketball.
right. And badly, I might add.
Well, that's not true.
I know it's not. He's just arguably the best ever. He's right there. Probably is. So
Not one of the nicest personalities in the game, but hey.
most great coaches are not nice people. Most of them are. In my lifetime, I mean, other than I can't even think of off the top of my head. Tommy. That's the name. Tommy Lasorda was cool. Joe Torre was cool. But I think about these other coaches. Some very few humble ones.
Who do you think's
Put
the
it that way.
meanest coach?
Oh, that's a good one. The meanest coach has got to be Bob Knight in my lifetime.
Yes.
In my lifetime.
Great pull.
In my lifetime.
Great
it's
pull.
Bobby Knight. Any man that would defecate and wipe it and go put it in a kid's locker after a loss.
He did that?
Yeah, that's a true story. He did that.
That's terrible, man.
He's the devil.
I knew I hated that guy.
Yeah, I hated him after I heard that story. I didn't hate him until then.
I hated him when he choked the kid.
And well, this was before he choked the kid. He did this before he choked the kid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So then he choked the kid on
But
camera.
he also used to like throw chairs at people and stuff. And
Threw a
it's like,
chair
dude,
across the court in
like,
87.
You're fucking.
They won a championship that year.
fucking
well.
hurt somebody.
No, he was a dick. I mean, he was a
Yeah.
dick. And that's why, to me, he's the worst. He's the meanest coach. Now, people who talk about Woody Hayes at Ohio State, who I unfortunately missed, but heard about my whole life for the prick that he was. I mean, so he's right there, Woody Hayes.
Seemed like Lombardi was a bit of a prick.
He was, from what I'm told, he was. Yeah. But he was, yeah.
One time I saw a video about him and it was like, you treat everybody the same. You treat them all like dogs. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
We'll die like dogs.
One
Tell us
time-
we'll die like dogs.
dude, one
No,
time
we'll
when I
fight
was-
like lions.
When I was working in corporate America, right?
Yes.
And I was a call center coach.
Yeah.
You know, where you coach
Yeah.
people on the phone.
Yeah.
And one of my peers ran this doing this thing spotlighting coaches, and it was like, hey, this is one of the greatest coaches of all time. You know, comparing sports to our jobs.
sure.
But they played this Vince Lombardi movie, and like I'm looking at it like I don't think this is how y'all want us to coach these people on the phone.
Mean son of a bitch.
Like treat them all like dogs. Like, get on the phones, you fuckers, and fucking take those calls, you sons of bitches. Like, that's how Vince
None of
Lombardi.
you will eat tonight.
You're a bunch of wimps.
I'll send them to your house. They'll take your food right off your fucking stove.
But it was so funny when he was like, one of the players was like, you know,
Yeah.
Vince always said, you treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
You treat them all like dogs. I was like, I don't know if that's the right message.
I mean, yeah, he's right there too. I'm just
was
saying.
successful.
Yeah, he was great. Though.
was
All time
successful.
great. Most of these guys are great. That's the thing. But that's part of what makes them great. But they dehumanize you because in their mind, and, you know, and
I don't think great coaches
I'll tell you what,
to do that.
the greatest thing I ever
I don't
heard.
think great coaches have to do
Well,
that.
maybe they don't, but they did for a long time and it worked. So I can understand why they did. I'm not saying it's the right thing. My father was
the easier way,
My
in my
father was
opinion.
like this. At least he was with me, and he wasn't like this with me in front of all the other kids. Anyway, the bottom line is the guy that who was it? I just had his name. There are very few coaches like this. They're just Tom Landry was like that dude. Very gracious and victory humble. John Wooden was that kind of guy. You know, they the gentleman. Dean Smith, gentleman. Like he was a gentleman.
Dean Smith was a gentleman.
He really was.
I didn't realize how mean Krzyzewski was.
Krzyzewski was a mean, but Krzyzewski was classy to the opponent. He was just,
But he shit on his team.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Not as bad as
I've
Bobby
heard
Knight.
JJ Redick has been sharing some stories about like
Yeah, you should just leave now. You should things you
right,
say
like
to
just
this
like
guy.
you're pathetic.
He'd
Like
rip- yeah.
what a shame.
What a shame.
You know, and
Wasted-
just like
I can't believe I wasted a
yeah,
scholarship
it's
on
like
you.
to me that's almost like the way a dad gets you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Some of these guys don't have a dad.
yeah,
So,
well, you know, it's great to have a dad,
Wow.
but it hurts to have a dad that cuts you like that.
tough love is what they call it, boys. and
That
girls.
shit hurts.
Tough love. And I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. I'm saying I've heard worse. heard worse.
Sure,
So,
but
anyway.
that shit can really hurt a kid.
Well, if you again, it's all about mental toughness. If you and look, Krzyzewski would tell these kids, and Shire tells this story about, look, if you don't want to play under a pressure packed every night, don't come to Duke.
Yeah.
He would tell it to the top high school player in the country.
Yeah.
If you don't want to play under that type of scrutiny every night, I don't want you, because that's what when you put this uniform on, that's what it is. And he was not lying. He built that program like that. So that's just being honest.
I know.
Okay?
It's just like,
so
and maybe that's the whole point of it is to build that thick skin.
Yeah.
But it's like
because he knows the world is
up
waiting
to a
for
kid
him.
that's looking at you like the center of the universe and the knower of all. To look at a kid in the eyes and go, God, you're a disappointment.
Yet,
I mean, maybe it does prepare you.
yet Reddick loves him. Reddick loves him.
No, I know.
So
I'm
they
just
all love
saying,
him.
like,
So
my soft ass would crumble under
my
that kind of
father
coach.
said things to me that I won't say on this camera.
Yeah, see, I was
Okay.
never the type of kid that responded to coaching like
And
that.
he did that because he knew it would piss me off. And he knew I was always one of those good players that was better when he was mad. And he just knew when he had to push my buttons. And it was he did it better than anybody. Nobody ever pissed me off as a coach in any sport like my father did. Nobody. But you know, it's funny. I never won as much as anybody else did.
Yeah.
We're talking 3 undefeated seasons, 4 state champions. We won, okay, at a big level. So I can't. It's hard to argue with that kind of success. But were there times we went over the line? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, see,
As a father, I can tell you, yeah, absolutely.
I never responded to that kind of coaching.
so-
That kind of coaching always, it like made me go into a shell because it would.
It's not for everyone.
The first time it happened to me, I was confused. Like, I was in basketball practice, and I was second in the wind sprints.
Yeah.
And the coach was screaming at me on the sidelines, calling me a turtle.
And you were second?
And I was second. And I was like,
I could see him calling the guy who came in last the turtle.
No,
so if you came in second, he was calling you that?
He was calling me a turtle. And I was hustling my ass off. I wasn't loafing.
Well, if you finished second,
I know.
How are you loafing?
And so I looked at him because I was trying to figure out what was happening.
Yeah.
And I realize now he thought he was pushing me to be like he thought I was good and was trying to push me to be better.
So was he screaming, "Come on, turtle"?
He was like, "Izzo, you're slower than a turtle out there." He screamed that in front of everybody, and that pissed me off. And I start and then like later in the week he goes, "You've been looking at us like you don't know what we're talking about for the whole week." He said this to me at the end of the week.
Huh? And what'd you say? I didn't
say anything.
Oh, okay.
I just let him talk because that's what it seemed like.
Coach, I didn't know what you meant.
Like, when I'm in second place, I don't know what that means. But I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I just like shook my head and took it.
Yeah.
But like that impacted me as opposed to him. If I had finished that sprint second,
yeah,
and I came off and he was like, "Hell of a job. I want to
Yeah.
see you take that first spot next time."
That's
if he had said that,
Sure.
I think it would have made me work 10 times harder. However, like you said, people respond different ways.
Different ways.
For you,
My father
somebody
didn't-
had yelled at you, you would have been like,
My father-
"Motherfucker, watch me get first."
I'm the only player that my father yelled at like that in any of the sports like he coached.
Because it was the father dynamic.
Yeah, and I think what my mother explained to me years later was he was trying to show the other kids that his son wasn't going to get special
Exactly.
treatment.
So
And when
he
she
actually doubled down.
Yeah, when she said that, then it made all the sense in the world. I'm like, okay, because all the kids that played for my father loved him.
Yeah.
His wake was supposed to be 4 hours. It was
When
8
did she tell you that?
when I was like out of college, when I was over.
So you didn't
didn't know.
understand it until then.
No, 'cause I wasn't a father. I wouldn't even think like that at that point. But one day we had a conversation about it, and I don't remember what brought it up, but and it was after when was it? He had just turned like 50 or something. Anyway, but so I asked that question. We were talking about something he used to do when we were kids, and I said, "Oh yeah." And then she said to me, she goes, "You don't know why he was like that with you?" I'm like, "He was trying to bring out the best in me." She goes, "That's one, the other reason he was like that." Is why I was like, "You notice how every kid loves your father because they know that you never got special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You never did, and that's how they saw it. He did that for 2 reasons: it was to make you better and to show your teammates that you were not going to be getting any kind of favoritism. If they ran 2 suicides,
If anything, you got it worse.
Yeah, if they ran 2 suicides, I ran 3. If they did 15 push-ups, I did 20. It was always you do 5 more. You take another lap. No matter what I could have scored 40 points in a game. It wouldn't fucking matter. He would have said that. Okay. So I mean, the bottom line is that's the thing. But so yeah, there's more than one style of coaching. And by the way, if there was a guy who coached me the other way, which other coaches did, I never responded the same. It wasn't that I wasn't intense, but it wasn't that I'll show you. My
didn't
father,
click
it
into
didn't
your-
piss
yeah.
me off. It didn't get me. My father was like, he just knew if he got me mad, it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing mattered anymore. When we
Yeah,
were
see,
playing,
I always play better with an even head.
We're in you'll love this one. We're in the AAU national champions, 1500. Our first national game. We went undefeated with a gold medal team, and we draw Municipal Gardens, Indiana, who's got a front line of Eric Montross and Alan Henderson and Glenn Wright. We're 15 years old. Okay, and freaking and we hadn't lost a game all spring. We're like 30-something and 0. We're down 33 points at the half to this team. They are kicking the shit out of us. And my father comes in at halftime, and Alan Henderson, who, by the way, was 6'8", I'm 6'3" at the time. I'm trying to guard this guy. He's wiping his ass with me. He's killing me. He dunked on me twice. He kicked my eye. Because so my father comes in at the half, and my father was the assistant coach. Ernie Rapucci was the head coach. He's saying all stuff, X's and O's, and everybody leaves, and then my father goes, "You stay behind." And so the team doesn't. This is an AAU team now. These guys don't know my father yet. Mm-hmm. So they all go out. Arnie's looking at us. Arnie's like, "We'll be right out in a minute." They go out. My father's like, doors closed, like, "When are you going to stop playing like a fucking pussy? I don't give a fuck if he's 10 feet tall. Fuck him. You stop playing his game and start playing yours. I didn't fucking coach you to be this way. You're the captain of this fucking team. You're going to jump off with the ship going down? You're going to fucking man up and start rowing. And I'm just like, and that was my father. And the thing was, he was right. I was fucking intimidated. I'm looking at this 6'8" African-American who can, at 15, can just turn and boom. with like, and he's doing it on me. And no one had ever done that on me before. So I'm like, this is like shell-shocked. He woke me up. So at the half, this kid has 18 points. I have 0. Okay, in the second half, he had 4 points. I had 16.
Nice.
And it was all on him. I took him outside. I kicked his ass. He's like, "Stop playing this game. Take him out there." And I fucking
beat them, or
we
they
lost
did?
by 4. And
They were too far ahead.
I fouled out. We had him in a stall. They were so, and you should have seen the contingent these people had. It felt like we were in Indiana playing the game.
Yeah.
Okay, we were surrounded. Literally, we had one little section of mass.
I have to go to the bathroom or it's
So-
going to be over.
Anyway,
Hold it.
hold that thought. Lift the seat up. Wash your hands. God damn it! Tuck up those pajamas.
My wife.
Amen. Amen. Coaches, again, there's different styles, and they don't work with everybody. They just don't. And the coaches that I played for that weren't like him were good coaches. I mean, God, there were some great coaches. I mean, shit, Don Mills at Xaverian, Tom Blackburn at fucking Worcester Academy. That guy's a Hall of Famer, for Christ's sake. Paul Booth, freaking up at Norwich was a very good coach. And he's still a very good coach. They're doing great things up there now. That's like 30 years after I've been there. So I played for a lot of very good coaches to great coaches other than my father. He was the only one who did that to me, or got me that way. Look, he knew what brought out the best in me. Not that I didn't play well for those other coaches. I did, but I never played as well for them as I did for my father. My father always kicked my ass no matter what I did. Nothing was ever good enough. So instead of me being nervous or thinking about it, I was so pissed at him, I would go even harder. So, but look, both styles have proven to be successful, so I don't know which one is the better one. We're in a different world than the one I grew up in, as I'm sure some of you as well. So here comes Tom. So what I was just telling our audience of 12 million is that
You're going to tell them again?
I was just saying how there are different styles, and both styles have proven to be successful. I don't know which one is the better one, but
I do.
It's well, if that works for you.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me. So
I just feel like that style can really leave stains on people.
again, I would argue Bob Knight went too far, way too far.
By
He's an
miles.
asshole. By miles. Mike Krzyzewski said things that are probably on the line, but I wouldn't say they were too far. I've heard way worse than that, and I heard that when I was like 13.
Yeah,
So I don't
think Krzyzewski is the same style as Bob Knight.
No, he's not.
Bob Knight was a maniac.
Yeah, he was a maniac.
He literally was a maniac.
He was, yeah. So they called him the, this is the one thing I hated about Dick Vitale, because I love the guy, but he called him the General Robert Montgomery Knight, and it's almost like he was. Oh yeah, that's the general. What the general does. Like,
Fuck that.
no, that's too far.
Yeah.
There's discipline, but again, the lie I wanted to tell you. This is the thing.
I don't like calling kids names.
Herb Brooks was a guy like
I don't
this.
like calling kids names.
These kids aren't kids anymore. They're in college.
I don't like,
but
still,
again,
you're
that's
basically a father figure. To me,
Yeah.
name calling is unnecessary.
So okay,
But
that's fine.
I get it. I get it. Because it's just direct communication,
Yeah.
honest, whatever you're
But, yeah.
feeling, you tell.
But there was a guy like that who took a certain hockey team to the greatest upset in sports
Right.
history. And he said something and people, this scene is one of the greatest stories about a team ever. When after a game against Norway, when they were checking out girls in the fucking stands, they shut the fucking gym arena because they were still doing gassers till they fucking dropped and threw up all over each other. And then finally, when they're all about to die, it
Is
looks
that
like,
real? Did that really
that
happen?
really happened. Yeah, Mike Aruzzi and
Aruzzi!
yeah.
I play for
Dan Callahan.
United
O'Callahan.
States of America.
O'Callahan is the one in real life who tells the story. He's the one who tells the story about what happened, and they're like, they're puking. They're like, they can't stand up. He said the TV version is much tamer than what really happened. That's O'Callahan, Jack O'Callahan talking.
It was 1980, right?
He's like, what they showed was nothing compared to what really happened, and because nobody knows how many we did that night, but we thought we were all going to die. And then finally, when they're standing, and then Eruzione just screams out what he says, and that really happened, and then he stopped it. And then after that, actually, while he was doing that to them, he said something that was 100% accurate. And to me, it's the greatest thing I ever heard come out of a coach's mouth. And that includes my father. He said, this cannot be a team of common men because common men go nowhere. You have to be uncommon. I can't fucking tell you with a fucking any kind of technology how accurate that is. Because 100% doesn't do it justice. That is so fucking true. It is so hard to win. Okay, it is so hard to win even at the highest levels championship. That's why Tom Brady's a fucking god. It's so you got to be kidding me.
He's a god.
He's a god. 7 Super Bowls. He's a fucking god.
He's a god.
He's a god. He's a fucking god. He's going to be on the Mount Olympus.
I would not call somebody a god.
He's a god. Bill Russell's another one. He's a god. It's 11 championships.
No
Michael
gods.
Jordan is a god.
I have no gods.
Wayne Gretzky is a god. These guys are gods in terms of athletes. Is what I'm talking about. So the bottom line is because of their level of success, because it's so hard to do.
God's a little extreme.
God, sport, of a sport god.
Sport
okay?
god.
So
Sport
anyway,
god, I'll give you.
That's what
I'll give you.
Not
sport
real
god.
life god, sports god. Anyway, but the bottom line is, it's so hard to win. And when Herb Brooks said that, I was like, that's the truest thing I ever heard.
It's hard to win when you're freezing too.
It is. Which is why we're going to end this segment because I can see the mouth and it's starting like
Dear
this.
God.
It's time to lock up. But anyway, hey, the madness is here. Enjoy the games tomorrow, this weekend. We will be back to look at what will be the Sweet 16. Okay, on Monday night. We'll see how wrong we were. Hopefully, how right. And we won't be going, why did you tell me? Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you do that?
I got to put some money on my gambling account.
Yes. Nothing like feeding that habit.
I don't gamble a lot, but
I do.
I think $50 to start the tournament for me. Do a bunch of unrealistic parlays, maybe hit one.
If you hit one, it's great.
Boom.
Yeah. So,
that's what I'm going to do.
What better tournament to do it at? So again, enjoy the games tomorrow and this weekend, boys and girls. We will see you on Monday night with a full recap and a look ahead. Until that time, that is the redoubtable one, Tom Izzo. I am the highly questionable one, RJ Migliaccio. Until then, boys and girls, like a soon-to-be New York Jet quarterback, tight, like fucking, so tight.
I've always made it.
2 weeks of the
I've always said my intention was to play football for the New York Jets.
Yes. A nice way of saying I'm
Jets.
taking my talents to the Big Apple.
Right.
Fuck.
I heard somebody say that today.
God.
Who was saying that?
We'll talk about it Monday.
Was it